Hey writers, do you guys have something to say? I want to hear it. So what I want you guys to do to get started is download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. And what I want you guys to know is that Anchor is completely and totally free. And not only is it free, it has all the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. And one more thing about Anchor that I really like is that you can host your podcast not only here, but it can distribute your podcast on other listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more. I know there's a Google one, there's so many different ones. But I wanted you guys to know that if you definitely have something to say and you want the world to know about it, definitely download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started, because I didn't think anybody wanted to hear my message, and now I have all you great listeners. So stay tuned, writers. Bye.
All right, babes. Welcome back. Hi, writers. It's Andy from Driving with Andy. This is episode 2. I told my coworkers I would start the podcast off strong, and I had to use one of my accents because she's an actress. No. So I wanted to kind of dip into a little bit more about gay shame and things of that nature. I know I touched a little bit about it in the last episode. I just didn't want to go in too deep. But I want to get into it now, as Doja Cat would say. A lot of you kind of tuned in, which I loved. I won't even say like the number because it's more than 5, and I'm ecstatic about that. So I kind of think I had a really good first episode, first pilot, if you will. And I will definitely start using some of the information some of you guys gave me. Like one of my old high school friends said that he thinks I should tell you guys where I'm going. So today we're on the way to a supermarket, and I am going to pick up some snacks for a movie night that I want to host. I just don't know when, and if people are going to be invited or if it's just going to be me. That's still to be determined, and that's okay. So I want to get into growing up gay. As I said, I was a little bit luckier than most, but I feel like no matter how lucky you are, you still may have some things that kind of cause some trauma or kind of cause some of, internalized homophobia or shame in the gay community. So for me, it was growing up and not having a gay role model or somebody to look up to or somebody to kind of know what being gay is all about or somewhere to go to kind of experience that and gain any knowledge about it, where I think like nowadays a lot of people definitely have more resources around them, more support. I'm hoping. If you don't have support, feel free to follow me at ANDIE613 and I will happily be in your corner. Snippity snap. I also, another tip that I don't want to use too often because I still have to be a nice, safe driver, is not putting on my blinker so much, because a lot of you were like, am I turning here? Anyways, so I feel like a lot of people nowadays have so much more resources, so much more support. Hopefully you have so much more support. Again, if you don't, feel free to reach out. And you're more than welcome to become a part of my little family. I am annoying, so be prepared for that. So I do want to touch base about, like I said, having that almost lack of access to any resources growing up. I literally just said I wasn't going to put on my blinker so much, and I just did. Having that lack of access to so many resources, or even like a role model, someone that you can aspire to be. I will say that having someone that you aspire to be in movies, like myself, my sexual awakening, person who I wanted to be was Robin Williams. I wanted to be funny. I wanted to kind of, I also wanted to be an actor, and I definitely can't be because I'm old, and they don't want somebody as old as me in the acting industry, or the film industry, I should say. But y'all missing out because I'm fun. Okay. So growing up, I will say my female sexual awakening was Shakira in her Whenever, Wherever video. And if you haven't watched the video, pause this right now and go watch it. Because not only is it a work of art, it's a masterpiece. She's dancing in the desert. She is not riding horses. She's dancing around horses. She's coming out of the water. Oh, come on. Y'all can't tell me that wasn't art. But touching base on that, when I was younger, that's one of the videos that I loved seeing on MTV when it used to play music videos. And I want to say that I probably waited for that video in its rotation so many times because I wanted to see her dance. I wanted to learn the dance. I wanted to be her. I wanted that long, beautiful, wavy beach hair, I should say. Oh, I wanted everything. I wanted to look that good coming out of the water. I look like a wet dog. Anyways, so I remember when I was younger, I would watch that all the time at my babysitter's apartment, and I think I was always like wondering, like, oh my god, like I can't, dance to this. I can't do X, Y, and Z because God forbid somebody sees it and they think I'm different. I'm this, I'm that. And growing up in a household, like, yes, I came out when I was 11, so I was relatively young. Again, I think I was spoiled in that sense where like my immediate family was more accepting. I kind of had some in and out times with my brother who I think our relationship now is much better, but we still have a lack of any deep connection at the moment. But that's something that I have to work on myself. And it's something that I am going to kind of work through with therapy too. It's just something that growing up, again, I had a lot of shame towards myself because of a lot of the things that family members had said or had done to me. And so growing up, I kind of put myself on the back burner in a sense that like I couldn't be super gay around family, super gay. I couldn't be kind of who I wanted to be. And yes, I can be super, super feminine if I wanted to be. I can be super masculine when I want to be. Just kidding. My friends are laughing right now because they know I could never be masculine. Not with this voice, not with how I look, not with how I walk. And I don't need to be attacked right now. But I could never be myself. I could never let down my guard around family because I was like, if they know I'm too, this way or that way, then I'm going to be perceived as lesser or, whatever the case may be. I've had tons of family members, tons, I shouldn't say tons. I've had a number of family members who definitely are not accepting of me, and that is fine. I don't interact with them on a daily basis. You don't have to interact with people who aren't kind of bringing some light into your life, or they don't have to bring light all the time, but if they're only bringing darkness, if they're only bringing you down, if they're only kind of trying to, I'll say, chisel away at every part of you, you don't have to be around them. That's one thing that I will say that's kind of helped me growing up is I surrounded myself more and more with people who love me for who I am. And if those people around you say they love you, but they're trying to break you down at every turn, those people aren't the ones for you. That's something that I kind of worked through with my overthinking and irrationalism, I don't think is a word. With my irrationality is that I would say in my head, like, if I wore this, would I be perceived as too, oh my god, now I'm being too gay. Oh, now he's feeling himself. He's doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, he can't wear makeup. That's so gay. That's so feminine. That's so this. If, like, I would ask myself that all the time, all the time, all the time. And then this past year, like, I wore this whole getup for a BDSM party. I went out. I presented as a dominatrix. And I was it, bitch. Y'all can't tell me. I had a blue and black wig. Oh, God. It's on my Instagram. Go see it. You'll love it. And if you don't, I love it. But again, it's something where I kind of would talk myself up. And then my friends would be like, bitch, you look good. And I'm like, here we go. That's, that's all I need to hear. But I'm kind of not tired of having that self-assurance and that reassurance from outside sources. But it is definitely something that should not be the only time that you're comfortable with yourself. I do think that as humans, we're a social species, so I think that exchange of reassurance is good in terms of creating relationships and kind of furthering them along sometimes. But it definitely is something that you can't bank on, and that's something that I did when I was younger, especially in the gay community when I was younger. Because when I was younger, we didn't really have too many gay apps. We only had this one that I signed up for at least, which was Grindr, which I'm sure many of you have heard. And if not, it is now deemed to be more of a hookup app. However, I think it's more of an app where you can kind of make of it what you will. Ooh, this person stopped short and I almost lost my temper, but I'm okay. So it is definitely something that I think you can make of it what you will. So for example, my last relationship was 4 years, and I found that person on Grindr. My first relationship was 3 months. I found that person on Grindr. We broke up after 3 months because I found that he was still using Grindr and cheating on me with multiple people. And that's, I was young and stupid back then anyway. So I think I definitely, especially in the gay community, like when I was younger, being super impressionable, I would think that like hooking up is all I had to do. Like that's the way to make connections. That's the way to make myself feel good about who I am. Um, Whereas now, as an adult, like yes, there's sex positivity in a good way. There's ways to be vigilant about your sexual health. There's ways to have fun, but there's smart ways to have fun. Like you don't have to just have fun and act all willy nilly and just let everybody in. Oh my god, there was a great meme, but I can't think of it at the moment because my mind is elsewhere. So there was things like that where in my own community, and another thing was there's bashing from straight community, there's also bashing from gay community. I have never been a skinny person. I have always been a little thicker, and many of you may be on Grindr yourselves and see that so many profiles say like, no fats, no femmes, no cross dressers, no twinks, no this, no that, mask for mask only, no blacks, no Asians, no, no whites, no Latinos, no this, no that, English only, Spanish only. Oh my God, speak this language. You're in this country. Blah 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 blah. There's so much toxicity in it where you kind of have to sift through it and, again, make of it what you will. I definitely will say that I was a person, again, I'm a person who believes in the nurture of it all. So you're a product of your environment where if you're in this toxicity so much, you think it's normal. So there were times where people were like hitting me up on Grindr. I was like, like you're not really my type, you're X, Y, and Z. And then I would immediately shut them down. However, there is a way to gracefully and elegantly tell someone you're not interested without making them feel bad about themselves. Alrighty, Ryder. Sorry for the weird cuts. It stopped recording and I did not want to start again because that was like my third or fourth time recording. And she don't got no time for that. No, so I was saying that there's a way to gracefully let someone down if you're not interested. And sometimes people lack that kind of tactfulness. I am definitely a person who subscribed to, like I said, that almost catty type of response where it's like, I'm not interested. Oh my God, you're gross. Blah, 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 blah. However, something that I mentioned in my friend's podcast when I was on it with her, Where Did I Put My Glasses? I mentioned that people sometimes have audacity and they're not able to go home and reflect on what they did that day or reflect on things that they said. So it's almost like you're lacking that piece of like empathy to kind of connect with someone. Like you wouldn't have liked this if it was on you, so why would you do this to someone in turn? It just doesn't make sense to me. Again, this is coming from the new me. The old me was definitely a big old bitch, super rude, but it was something that I was again surrounded by. As a person who's uh, uh, bottom heavy, or a heavy bottom as I like to call myself, I would always get like, oh, you're a little bigger than I like, or you're this, you're that. Whereas now I feel like thickness is, again, something that's in social media, something that's in just society as a whole now that's looked at, oh my God, he's thick now. So that's a good look for him. That's this, that's that. Whereas before it was more of a like, not a handicap. I don't want to say a handicap. In that sense, it was more of a preference that people did not like, I guess. Or a non-preferred type of look. Whereas now, again, something that kind of helps me get over my body dysmorphia or my body shaming or anything like that, because I do have days where like I feel like I'm over 800 pounds. I should be on one of these like True Life shows. something that's been helping me so much is like just going to the gym or just having a walk or just having a walk, going for a walk. I watch a lot of UK. Have a walk then. UK shows. But I think it's more so something to make yourself aware of is to go out and do things that make you happy, regardless of what the fuck it is. I go to the gym not for anyone. I go to the gym. There's a wonderful meme that says, I go to the gym to look at myself naked. I don't go to the gym to go out there and, throw my body at people. Um, Although there are urges, honey. No, I'm kidding. But this is kind of going into my next step of where the shaming comes from. There also has to be some sort of follow up with just being okay with who you are, and that comes with time, that comes with experience. What I will say again is that there are so many more resources now, so there's so much more acceptance, there's so much more out there for people who are maybe ostracized by people in their community. But I do think that it's still a very toxic world out here, regardless of your orientation, your gender, literally anything that you do. You could put on one red sock and one blue sock and people will call you out on it. But it is something that I'm not allowing to dictate my life, which it used to so much, where I couldn't have a good time. Whereas recently, well, not recently, but like within recent years, like I've gone to the Pride Parade with like my partner, and there's one year where I went with my mom, and she had a blast, and like it kind of made me feel like, you can let go too. Like all these people around you are letting go, just let go. You don't have to be vigilant. There's not going to be a bombing. There's not going to be a shooting. Again, this is me being super, super crazy. Well, not crazy, but super, super overthinking, super, super irrational with everything that's around me. Uh, but working out again has helped my anxiety decrease so much. Where I can go out and have like a few drinks with friends at whether it's a gay bar, a hetero bar, any this that. I like calling them hetero bars. Um, but again, it's also sharing that piece of my life with others. And again, if someone is bringing you down about a certain part of your life, albeit if you're not like, don't hurt anyone, don't damage anyone, let it be like, I don't know. If it's something that's dangerous, if it's something that's not great for everyone, I would understand why people are trying to stop you from doing it. Which kind of goes into my next thing about promiscuity and that sort of side of everything, where I kind of felt unworthy of so much of myself if someone didn't want me. And again, I feel like as a person who, again, suffers from so much self-image issues, I think I've become a lot more sex positive in my adulthood, where I feel it's an experience that you can have safely, consensually, just kind of being around others who have that same mindset. Not saying that, like, be promiscuous everywhere you go, but I think there's a certain balance to everything, obviously. As long as it's safe, it's healthy, it's fun, it's consensual again. Because there have been moments where it has not been consensual. There have been moments where I have been assaulted, whether it be physical, sexual, what you want to call it. I will say that there have been moments where friends around me, like my friend, I took her to, well, we were actually at a straight bar in a town around where I live, and it was a woman kind of pushing up on her, and instead of asking like, hey, like, are you interested, or hey, do you want to dance, something so simple. And if my friend said yes, then yes, you can dance, yes, you can talk, yes, you can do this or whatever. However, my friend was definitely not interested. My friend is a heterosexual woman. She's in a relationship. She's happy with her boyfriend. And yeah, that's a stop sign, sweetheart. Sorry. And so this kind of situation, I guess she didn't know how to respond to it. Whereas something as simple as just asking someone like, hey, not even can I come into your space, like, hey, do you mind if I hang out with you guys? You guys look like you're having fun. Because all we were really doing was dancing on the dance floor. There wasn't a lot of people on the dance floor, so you could see when this person's honing in on someone. So she started dancing behind my friend, and again, I thought it was just something innocent, playful, something cute. But it turned out not to be that. It turned out that she was groping my friend from behind, and my friend didn't feel comfortable, but didn't know how to express that. So again, if you're in a safe space, if you're around people who are there for you, again, if I had known in that time what was happening, I would have definitely told the woman to, back up, or hey, go to the bar, have a drink, do X, Y, and Z. My friend, she pretended that she was sick, so I told my other friend to take her to the bathroom, where I started to speak to the woman who kind of approached my friend in the negative way. And I said, "Oh, like, are you from around here?" She was like, "Oh, your friend doesn't like girls. What's wrong with her? Is she okay?" And I said, "I don't know what you mean by that. Like, what do you mean that she doesn't like girls?" I was like, "She loves women. She's not a lesbian, if that's what you mean." And she was like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you guys were having fun, so I wanted to dance with you." I'm like, "Okay, you should have approached the situation like that prior to jumping my friend's bones, if you will." Where people have done that with me. I was groped in a gay bar when I was with a partner at the time, and the person kind of assumed that I was into it, or assumed that I would go with him, or assumed that I would, welcome it. And I think what he was looking for was a threesome, because he was like, "Oh, your boyfriend's not into it." I'm like, "No." In terms of things like that, where again, in your environment, you're so used to seeing so many of these things, I guess, especially going out. Whereas, like, am I supposed to be accepting of this? Where I feel like my self-esteem or my self-worth was so low, where I was like, maybe I should be accepting of this. Maybe I should take any little piece of attention that I can get, any little shred of having somebody look at me, or desire, I guess. I equated desire and self-worth as the same thing. So if someone desired me, like, my self-worth would shoot up. Where now, like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be okay in my own skin. I don't want to have that thought anymore, where I have to depend on somebody else to want me to be happy, or things of that nature. So I will say there's all that shame, there's all that internalized homophobia, where, again, you think you're a target, you think you're out in the world just, minding your business, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're attacked by somebody just because you're gay. Or um, I guess it's also definitely exacerbated by just my anxiety. So anxiety just runs everything around me, which I hate, but I have been getting better about it. I don't let it just dictate everything I do. I push myself to kind of go outside of my comfort zone to a reasonable um, limit, and that's something that you guys can do too, to work on yourselves. It's just more of making reasonable goals for yourself. Like, don't expect yourself to change overnight. I know I definitely have not changed overnight. I'm still not super, super 100% where I want to be. However, I'm getting there, and it's been a year and a few months. And that's okay. Everybody has their own journey. You guys might turn around and be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm better after 2 weeks. Who knows? Um, I want to also touch base on the fact of you, again, back to consent. There have been things that have happened to me, especially within the past year, where I did not consent to. I was blacked out, and I have come to terms with it. I'm not forgiving of that person. Um, I won't ever forget it, really. It's something that I want to touch more on maybe in future episodes. I don't want to get too deep too fast. Honey, I can't swim. But it is something that I work through with therapy, and I definitely know that it is not a reflection of who I am. It's a reflection of the person who preyed upon and took advantage of the situation. So if you guys have encountered things like this, just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is very, very devastating in the moment. I felt guilty about it for weeks, and I kind of took it out on myself for too long. But it wasn't me; it was the person. And again, it goes back to having that shame in your mind, where it's like, did I ask for this in some sort of way? Or that guilt in your mind, I should say. Did I ask for this in a certain way? I put on my blinker, sorry. Or what did I put myself in this predicament where it's, why am I asking the question and taking the responsibility or the accountability from the person who actually acted upon the behavior? Again, so where was I going with this? So consent, again, being an adult now, sex is something that's consensual. Sex is something that, as a human species, I feel that, as all species, want to have, obviously. Um, but there are ways to go about being super sex positive. Nowadays, there's PrEP, so there's so much medicine out there that probably wasn't around when we were younger, which is allowing people to be more and more open with their sexual experiences, which is completely fine. I will just say that as a person who is on PrEP, I am been trying my best to be safe, trying my best to be super vigilant about certain things. Sexual health is so important, at least to me. Again, as somebody with anxiety, that's something that I'm always thinking about. Not that I'm having a lot of sex. Let's get that out there. She's the Virgin Mary. No. But as a person who I'm not an angel. I'm not, the most promiscuous person anymore. I definitely take my sexual health very serious, as should many people. But again, as long as you are an adult, you're consenting to these experiences you're having with another person, it is an experience to have. And there is something called the transference of energy, which so many people have been talking to me about, where it's like, oh, it's so real. It is, but there's also a way to kind of guard yourself from that. Again, being on hookup apps, you know what you're there for. You shouldn't be getting attached. You shouldn't, etc., 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 etc. But again, there's a way to be a consenting adult. There's a way to be a safe adult. There's a way to be a healthy adult. There's a way to be X, Y, and Z. In the gay world, it's just very different, I guess. I don't know. Excuse me. But let me take a swig of water because girl, I've been talking a lot. I did want to say that I'm very happy because I do have people around me who have finally kind of accepted me for who I am. And I've had them for a while. I just I don't know if I took it for granted. I don't know if I was kind of overthinking and irrationalizing again, where it's like maybe these people are just doing this because, I serve a purpose in their life. And albeit, maybe I do serve a purpose in their life. Maybe I'm the funny friend that always gets them to laugh. Maybe I'm just, um, I don't know, whatever it is that I filled the role for. But I have become more conscientious about also telling my friends that I love them, I appreciate them for what they do for me. I've become way more emotional. I've been in tap and in tune with my emotions. I've been tapped into my emotions, I should say. And I have been in tune with them. There you go. Good job, good job. Where I am able to kind of offer gratitude to people and appreciate them for what they've done for me. Which, again, I think I spoke about it last episode. It's kind of a fading thing in the world where, like, you can't be too gratuitous. You can't show too much appreciation for people. It may be a sign of weakness. Like, you're supposed to stomp all over people. I always thought, like, I had to be a bad bitch. I couldn't show emotion. I couldn't do X, Y, and Z because if I told somebody that I love them or felt something for them, then they could get up and leave. Or they would get up and leave. They kind of, I served my purpose for them. That's all they wanted from me was that kind of affirmation, and then they would leave. Which is something else I'm working through with therapy, which is abandonment. Dun 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 dun. But we won't be talking about that today because I'm almost at the supermarket. A bitch is gonna go shopping. I am. I did just want to say that if you are having conflicting feelings with yourself, it's normal. When I was younger, I remember knowing that I was different, just not knowing what to do with that information, I guess. Where I always felt kind of feminine about myself. So I was like, maybe I was supposed to be a girl. Like, maybe I was supposed to be more femme presenting. I've had thoughts about transitioning myself. Maybe that would make me feel more comfortable in my own skin. But again, I think growing up and being, like going to therapy and having all these thoughts kind of sussed out and hashed out on paper, kind of writing things out, just having things in front of me where I can make sense of them has helped so much. And also, if you've seen my pictures, y'all know I'm gonna be an ugly, ugly female. But that's okay. It's okay. But no, I do joke about little things. I make light of some situations, and I do that more so because I feel when people tell me heavy things, not only do I feel uncomfortable sometimes, but I also want to make light of the situation because I want them to feel at ease too. But I do know when to be serious. At least I hope I do. Uh, Maybe I come off as too playful. And I think that's something that I also have to work on, is to be serious when the time warrants it. Which is most of the time. But a bitch loves to be playful. I'm a Gemini, so I can't be too serious. So many people are probably like, ooh, two-faced, fake, ooh, delete, block, unsubscribe. No. I will say that recently I've gotten into astrology due to some close friends of mine, and it's just like such a good insight into people. And y'all may think I'm two-faced, y'all may think I'm fake. I like to say that I'm adaptable and I can kind of conform to someone's personality, but I also think, personally speaking, I'm not speaking on behalf of all Geminis. Personally speaking, I am definitely a person who I like making people feel at ease and dropping their guard. Because I feel like, why are you always on your toes? Like, why are you always on edge? Why are you always, why do you always have your walls up? You can let them down. It does give insight into certain people. My coworker, she is a triple fire sign, honey, and she is so abrasive. No, I'm kidding. I hope she hears this, and I hope she calls me out on it. But I do love her. She is, she's funny. She's funny. She's an Aries. I will say, Aries female and Aries male are different. She doesn't talk about herself at all. And my Aries male friend, all he does is talk about himself. Woo, boy, he could talk. No, I'm kidding. He's going to call me out on shit too. That's okay. That's what I'm here for some playfulness, for some seriousness, for some touch and go humor. But yes, so internalized homophobia, still to this day, I feel like I have some where, like, Halloween's coming up and I want to do something. I want to do something gay. I want to be, I don't know, I want to dress in drag. I want to do X, Y, and Z. But again, something's holding me back. Like, do you really want to do that? Are you really sure you're okay? Blah, blah, blah. But guess what? I know once I put those fucking heels on, I'm going to feel the fantasy. I'm going to be that person. I love it. And I think that's just something that people kind of have to get the fuck over. People are going to dress the way they want. They're going to express themselves how they want to. And honestly, it's none of our fucking business. Let them live their life. As long as they're not harming you, bringing any sort of anger to you, any sort of hatred, you know what? Let that person live. Again, this is a new subscription I am subscribing to because, again, I have been the person who was super, I won't say closeted. That's not the word I want to use. And I won't say hateful, because I wasn't hateful. I was more, I won't interact with that person. I won't, entertain them. Because I don't want to be perceived as somebody who would hang around that type of person. There might be people who don't want to hang around with me, and that's fine. That's your loss. But in the same way, it was my loss for not hanging around with the people that I've encountered in the past. It's something that you have to mature through and you have to grow through. And that might be something for heterosexual people. I don't know, because I've never been one. A heterosexual person, I don't know what that is. Google it, maybe. But I have never had that experience. I can only speak from my experience, which is I couldn't be around certain people because I thought that their experiences and my experiences were too different, and that would then in turn reflect on who I was as a person. And then I would be a target. Again, irrational thoughts are wild, but they dictate a lot of who I was in the past. Now I still have irrational thoughts, but I won't let them control me, and I can work through them. Like, what's the worst that could happen? This. Okay, cool. Now I can go on about my day. And so I do know that I've spoken with a lot of people, and I have gotten some people that want to talk about toxic gay culture, which I kind of touched base on it a little bit, where it's more so a, please don't merge, ma'am, I'm right here, thanks. It's more of a toxicity that is based on physical appearance. Like, nobody cares about your insides, really. Well, they do, girl. They want to get inside you. But they care more about your physical appearance because it's that lust, it's that fleshiness of it all. My friend uses that word all the fucking time, and now I get it, girl. It's the fleshiness. It's the wanting of that lustfulness to be kind of fulfilled. And then you go on about your day. Whereas now, as a person who is on these apps again, I'm trying to more so make deeper connections, I guess. Like, I've never really had gay friends. I I've had lesbian friends. I've never had gay male friends because, again, I was like, I can't be perceived as that type of gay. I can't go out and, party and do this, that. Whereas now that I'm an adult, I'm like, bitch, I missed out on so many fun experiences by sheltering myself or closeting myself, even from, the gay community. Even though I was out of the closet, I was still in a closet. You know what I mean? I was in the wardrobe, honey. But yeah, so just some things that I want to talk about. What else? One person requested that I talk about my booty hole. Sorry, girl, I can't talk about my booty hole on a podcast. Love you. That's about all you're getting about my booty hole. Um, she's a mess. What else? If you guys want to hear any topics in general, let me know. I do want to see if I can release my friend's podcast because we are going to be having one together. I want to know if I can also use that episode for one of mine. Not that I'm being lazy. Shut the fuck up. No. But I want to kind of have her on here as well. She lives in Cali, so it's kind of hard for us to record sometimes, 3 hours apart and all that good stuff. But I do think that it will be good insight, and you can kind of hear our banter, which I find so fun too. Maybe I'll ask if I could put her other one that we did together on this as well, so you guys can kind of have more exposure from her, but also get her kind of feel of how she does podcasts. I feel like right now I've just been talking to myself, which I can do for a long time, girl. But it's good to kind of see the banter between two people and see how they engage with each other about certain topics. So I will say thank you guys for tuning in this week. I recorded a day early because I want to have tomorrow, the holiday, off for myself to kind of veg out, which is why I'm going shopping for things for a movie night. I don't know if I want to veg out by myself or with friends. So, yeah, I think this was good. Thanks for letting me talk about me. You guys are so nice. Um, Thanks, writers. I was gonna call y'all passies, but that kind of sounds like something else, like pussy. So I didn't want to do that. So I'm gonna call you guys riders. You're my riders. I'm your Uber driver. Please leave me a 5-star rating, and I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.